Hi there, it's been a while since the last update. Pretty busy on work with other people's bits and pieces at the moment, but between breaks took a first attempt mould off the one of the seats I got, but didn't like the return edges. Similar to the doors, the edge wasn't very nice, wasn't really pretty, didn't like it, so with the doors I made a new return. With the seat I'm going to do the same thing, so I've done the seat yet again. Just whack the clay on, heat it up, part it in with a pair of gloves because it's a bit warm otherwise, and then start peeling it back. So I've got yet again another reasonably smooth, nice return on there again. Technically from about here around to there you never really see anyway, because you can imagine this is the mould, so the shiny surface on the outside of the seat, and when you wrap the seat, you wrap the seat around and back underneath this lip, so technically you never see this surface, so it doesn't have to be super shiny like the centre of the seat. But I wasn't happy with it, so the return wasn't very nice. And obviously a mould, it's always handy to have a large return, makes it easier and simpler to get in, and then just cut off what you want for the seat itself. So this is the first part of, it's going to be a 3-part process. First mould off the original seat, then get this right, take the first seat out of that, but make the seat a single piece again, and then make a new mould, but make it a 2-piece. You see at the moment here where this 1-inch band is all the way down the centre. That's basically because the seat was a little bit narrower. It's been made from two parts and then took apart. I'm going to keep this as the standard width seat. I don't think any thinner. You can always pad this out here if somebody is quite thin, but I'm going to make this sort of 2 inches wide. My cabins between the main chassis rails is 60mm wider, so technically I've got a bit more room to add an inch to each seat without too much trouble, and that's why some more padding here to make it more comfortable. So this is going to be more like 2 inches wide. So the one seat mould will be bolted together, so just 2 straight pieces for this size, and then if somebody wants a 1-inch wider seat, then basically I'll bulk the 2 out and add a spacer down the centre to have one that's 1 inch wider than that. So that's the seat. Just a boring old Cobalt that I bought, slightly used, should we say. So I'm just prepping this. It had a bit of a dent in the door here, so I hammered most of the dent out and just priming and filling that. Hopefully that'll be Heather's new car. Somebody asked me to make a pair of doors for his blue car. I don't know what I wanted to say the second set, but this will be my first actual full double skin door. Bring it round. So now you can see with the new mould, I've now got that nice smooth return edge which is about 7 or 8mm thick all the way around the outside, so that's working quite well. Inner skin's coming together, bonded together. You can see a milky sort of clear fluid. That's an epoxy structural adhesive, and the threaded insert obviously goes in here. You can see the marking line for it. He wants to put his own threaded inserts in so he can actually mock up, put the door on the car, mock the corners, and then drop the door in and let it set overnight, so it doesn't have to worry about hinge alignment because they're actually bonded in. So that's nice and simple. The biggest proverbial pain in the backside on the doors themselves is starting out with there's an inner skin. Starting out with an inner skin and then trimming everything, trimming all the ins, trimming all the outs, but then also making sure where the 2 skins touch, technically it's not too thick. So I have to trim the outer skin and sandwich it between the inner and outer mould, and make sure it doesn't raise up. Then do the same with the inner skin, without the outer skin in, and sandwich the 2 moulds again, make sure it's not touching. Then put the 2 inner and outer skin together, and then sandwich it again, and make sure the moulds close. And where they don't close, obviously I've got to keep tickling it out until they do fit properly. So that's that. Where do we go from there? Oh yes, right. I pulled one of the first generation, Okay, one of the first generation centre sections I did that I wasn't happy with. It sunk in a few places, but I need to make moulds for the windscreen tooling. So I basically chopped it off where I didn't need it, and now where this actually touches is pretty good. There's no real gap all the way along here, all where the join edge is. It's pretty tight, so that's good enough to use as a mould to send away for the windscreen manufacturer. Now they need an aperture like this, but obviously it needs to be stably square, and this is quite flexible when it's outside the mould, and not bolted to the chassis and structure. So I've got some, you can see some 1-inch square tubing there. I'm going to make a square tubing for it, put about 8 contact patches around it to make sure that it doesn't move, bond them in, so I've got a nice flat frame that when you turn upside down it sits flat on the deck, and it's got a nice, perfect area for the screen to fit in. Then once I've done that, I basically have to fill in, if we go back to the car, I have to fill in where the windscreen should be. So I'll put straight pieces of steel and not bonds, just to lay them in and just temporarily glue them with modelling glue, because the windscreen should be flat pretty much from here all the way down to the front there. It shouldn't technically do this and curve up and down. You see anybody with a standard screen, and technically when it gets from this point here, you can see the light. No, I'll go to the side. There you go. When you see it from the side, for instance, when the windscreen starts here, it should be a dead flat straight line to fit there. That's so you can see the angle of this return on the top here. Well, what tends to happen with the screens, they tend to bow out, come down here, and then bow back down again. Well, that's not how it should be. That surface there and the return trim there is pretty much flat to itself, and that's how you want the windscreen. So if I put all the bars in there, I'll make the outer shape of the windscreen so that I know that it's pretty much what it should be. I'll make an outer buck of the outside of the screen, then I'll pull a mould off of that, do the same, I'll steel reinforce it so it doesn't move, and then from that I'll have obviously a negative. I'll then make a windscreen out of fiberglass, the correct thickness, so that when I'll actually send, the windscreen manufacturer is this, so it's like technically a mock-up of the car, so they know where to put, they can check fit their new screens in that. A fake windscreen made out of fiberglass that's the correct thickness and pretty much will be fit in the same shape. Obviously it doesn't have to be the correct smoothness on the inside, just has to be the correct thickness where it sits in here. And then on the outer, you'll have an outer, so you basically have a part A, part B and a windscreen all in fiberglass. I'll send that to the windscreen manufacturers then, and then pay a fair amount for the tooling, for about $4,000 to $5,000 for the tooling itself without screen, and then obviously I've got to buy a minimum order of probably 10 or 12 screens as a hit. So, but I need to get the windscreen tooling on the way. I have one screen myself, obviously a heated stealth one, but it's not really a fantastic fit. It fits, and it's no different to the normal screens. In fact, they're made in the same damn place in Spain anyway, so it doesn't make any huge difference to a normal GTR screen. They're made by the same people, but it doesn't matter too much. They're not going to be made there anymore. They're actually made in North America, so they're going to be here. They're a bit more pricey. I'll probably be about 10-15% more pricey than a UK screen, but I don't have much choice. I want to have things locally. I don't have to ship them halfway around the world, so but I can get them there. So windscreen tooling started. Production double skin doors now working, cooking on gas pretty well. Seat mould still in production. Oh yeah, had to buy some decent resin, so I bought some basically high performance, they call it. I don't quite know why they have it that, but it's a high performance, not a standard resin. It's a high heat distortion stuff. It has a little bit less styrene content, so technically it shrinks less. Normal styrene content of most of the cheaper resins is in the 40% range. This is actually closer down to 37, so it's about 5 or 8% less than normal. Makes the wet out a little bit more interesting, but less shrink is better. better for heat distortion, so better stuff, and pricey. Breather around. So that's the progress. Oh yeah, last thing but not least, AC system saves into post. Hopefully should be here this weekend, and we've got a new batch of nice Chevant CM70 styling clay. So doesn't want to separate, whatever. So I've got a couple of boxes of that. It's not very much for $460, but at the end of the day I need it to do the windscreen, the dash moulding. So hopefully the dash will arrive next week, and we can start putting the evaporator in, working out where the tubing is going to go. It's going to surround the dash, and then basically mock up and build our a next dash design, which hopefully should be just, I don't know, nicer, more easier ducting, and with some form of a secondary mould to put on the underneath, so we can have the defrost vents. Basically, you don't have to use a plastic defrost vents to put in. I'll actually put a defrost vent all around the screen and have it moulded in as a second piece. So you've got your normal top part of the dashboard, and I'll just bond that in, and then just have the two ducts go to it, and then you just have a short piece of hose, probably no more than 3 or 4 inches, to go from the vat to the defrost itself, and it'll be all around the screen, which is good. So that's the thing so far. So when I get the AC, I'll probably do another quickie on it, just to show you the advantages or not. But, there you go. Speak to you soon.